There are forces in this country who don't want to see Islam become firmly established and don't want to see the Muslim community become a powerful political force in this country. And so they're working day and night to create a wedge between the majority of the American people and Islam.
Excuse me, people, there's no sequel. You only got one chance to get it right and win this fight, so check your circumstance. You've got internet and a cell phone pet, but we're all disconnected. You got internet and a cell phone pet, but we're all disconnected. You hear the preachers, the sacred teachers, but no one gets affected.
What about the minarets? What about the minarets?
There were only 4. There were only 4.
You missed the point. Not only is it illegal, not only is it banned, but it is in the very constitution of Switzerland that doesn't allow a Muslim to build a masjid with a minaret. You don't think Islamophobia is real? Go to France, where Muslim women can't wear hijab to school, can't wear hijab to work. You don't think it's real? This country celebrates the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. Tomorrow will be his birthday. And he fought for his people. Because you call it Islamophobia, call it racism, call it whatever you want to call it, but there are people like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and others who fought for the right for black people to have their freedom and to have justice. You're talking about Muslims arguing whether we should vote, whether we should not vote. Take Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers lost his life because he tried to get black people the right to vote.
Regarding education in schools, particularly in public schools, Muslim parents who have their children in public schools have to take an active role. You have to go to that school. You should visit a school at least twice a month if your child is enrolled in that public school. You need to volunteer, particularly during Islamic holidays, so that you can volunteer and offer to do a presentation in the class, offer to organize with teachers and the parent association to have guest speakers of the Islamic faith so that they come in, so that they're seen as doctors, as professors, as lawyers, as engineers, and you're starting to bridge and connect with them, not just as people of faith, but as Americans. And that's not done enough. So it is true that we experience different things. Islamophobia is growing. But as American citizens and as Muslims, if we take that extra step to make ourselves open and available to people that we have to associate with, then that will go very far, I believe.
In Pakistan who spoke against it too, and all of them at the threat of their own lives. That they said a word of sanity in that chaos, and they took that responsibility, knowing full well that there are crazies out there that would like nothing more but to spill their blood for no cause whatsoever, with no understanding of deen, you know? And we're living in that charged climate. We really are. But we have to understand in the United States we're in a strategic advantage. We have much less bullying than is even happening in the Muslim world. So we have to speak up, and we have to speak up intelligently. And as part of this speaking up intelligently, what I want to make sure I remind myself of and I remind you of is, too often, and I say this from experience, I've met youth that have been completely taken in by certain elements of certain literature that's online, that's very like militant and is very aggressive, and they become completely wrapped up in that stuff, and they're just looking for a debate and dalil and evidence. Here's the ayah, here's the hadith. And it's very carefully crafted, These writers, they take ayat and a hadith and they put a string of them together, and at the end of it they have a conclusion. But the conclusion clearly in their writing came first, and the evidences came later. That's a very clever way of doing things. Because if you've already made your conclusion, when you start citing from sacred text, you can pretty much, have any conclusion and reach that conclusion through your selective process. And anything that doesn't agree with your conclusion, you can just, casually omit, conveniently not even mention. And so all these, pardon my crude language, but all these dumb teenagers here is ayah hadith conclusion. And they say, this guy's got Deen. I got it. This is what Deen is all about.
A lot of the people that I meet, when they don't really know about Islam, they usually ask me to explain it to them. A lot of them want to learn about it, and I'll explain to them. And if they don't agree with it, then I'll explain to them. They'll explain to me why they don't agree with it, and then I'll explain to them my part and how I feel about it, how I'm not oppressed, and how I'm doing fine. Then they realize, it's cool, it's just a religion. My name is Rakaya, and I go to Carver School of Health and Science Research. And my interests are studying. I like soccer, and I like to read.
And I think that as Muslims, we have to exude the highest of character and highest of standard in terms of how we walk and not just talk, so that we can help to eradicate Islam. And to also speak about it, because even though these conferences are excellent and informative, I always think about what are the next steps. So it's going to be a lot of people who come here, but how are we going to affect policy and do things like that? Because we're basically singing to the choir. And it's a topic that's, genuine to our hearts, but we need to invite other people who have power in mass, and we have power also. And I think we need to follow the leads of some other communities who have been politically successful to have some of our issues on a platform to be heard. So some policy changes are a little different.
Sure. Is Islamophobia new? Is that a new thing for Muslims in America?
No, it's not a new thing, because Islam has been in America for many, many years, and I would like to refer right now, because I'm a former member of what was called the Nation of Islam, and we were called Muslim, and some called us Black Muslims, and there was a mystique and a fear that the Muslims who were called Black Muslims were violent and hated all white folks, which was a philosophy that was espoused. But contrary to that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught us not to carry weapons, which we didn't, not to carry even a penknife. In fact, he searched the members before they came into the masjid to condition the mind to be peace-loving, because of the nature of the word Islam, meaning peace. So, and he made them productive. The philosophy was, heaven is under your feet, dig it out. So there was stores built, neighborhoods corrected. He took men who were drug addicts, who were pimps and hustlers, And if anybody would read the autobiography of Malcolm X, they'll give a good picture of that. So he cleaned up people who were disgruntled with the American society and hated the American society, but channeled that energy to be productive for themselves. So it was contrary. So this Islamophobia is the same thing. They have people who are afraid, and making them phobia, as if they have claustrophobia. A phobia is something that's irrational. You understand? It's irrational. It's not a rational fear. It's an irrational fear. Like people are afraid of spiders or snakes, or heights. These are phobias. These are false fears, you see, and they appeal to the innocent and the ignorant. The innocent people don't know no better, and the ignorant don't know no better.
Hi, my name is Tanisha Hamid of Mammy Media. We are here at the conference at the Georgia International Convention Center here January the 14th, 2011. We're talking about eradicating Islamophobia. And today we have with us a sister who is going to speak with us today. Sister, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to the conference today?
My name is Faireen Chaudhry, and I'm supporting Aziza. It's a #1 women's magazine for the Muslim community, which is great. They have a lot of very strong women who are, doing wonderful things in all communities all over the United States. So I support the magazine. So I'm here supporting that and getting subscriptions, renewals, showing awareness for that as well. And
Excellent. She was talking about Aziza magazine. This is the Aziza magazine that she's referring to. And this is what brings her to the conference today, to promote this magazine, as well as to talk about, ask you a question about Islamophobia. Do you have any concerns about Islamophobia?
Yeah, because as we all know, the media does not reflect Muslim or the Islam religion in a very positive light. It does get people very wary of Muslims, and I guess basically we would have to, just be more outspoken about it and go out there and show people, as to what we are. We are a united front. We are peace-loving people, as we all say. We preach, and we're not quite out there, supporting it as much as we should. So I think it's a wonderful, thing that we are trying to do this in all levels, in all different communities. But I am afraid of it, that how far is it going to go before it's going to get better.